Welcome to the affiliate virtual series on internships and alumni. We're excited. This is our 7th one in this series and just thrilled that so many of you have been able to join us for these. Just a couple housekeeping items. Welcome everyone. As in other webinars, everyone is going to stay in listen only mode for the presentation. We are recording the webinar so you can share with your affiliate leaders. We will also do our best to answer your questions at the end. Please do use that question box and Paulette will manage that when the presentations are over. We'll also compile those questions and do an FAQ document. Like I said, a recording of the webinar and the slide deck. Please reach out to your RD if you have any questions or concerns. We found that if you're having any kind of audio trouble, that you won't be able to hear me right now, but you can see on the screen, click no audio in your audio section and then reselect computer audio and that should reset your settings. Our agenda today, Diana Eidenschink will do an introduction and a national update. Then Diana will also talk about internship programs from the sponsor standpoint or the employer standpoint. Chris Ann Rabin from ACE Chicago will talk about how they have created such a successful internship program for their affiliate. Lauren Fiore with Greater New York will talk about their amazing ideas for alumni management and engagement. And then, as I said, Paulette will go through the Q&A.
Thank you, Monica. Welcome, everyone. Today's session will be focused on internships and alumni. But before we start talking about these topics, we always like to take a few minutes to just give you an update on what's going on at National or remind you what's going on at National. Many of you are asking what is going to be the directive for the new year of 2021. The National Board is watching closely what is happening across the country, but finding it difficult to make a clear directive for the ACE Mentor program. As of right now, the thought is that the majority of our program will remain virtual. However, we're hoping that after the first of the year, there may be some flexibility. I know it's difficult to be in a period of uncertainty, but we are trying to make the best decision for everyone involved with the program. The ACE Mentor staff has been busy working on virtual curriculum since we know that the majority of the program will remain virtual. ACE Ventures and other tools have been developed and put onto the tools site. Please share with us any tools that you may have developed so that we can share them with others. Also, feel free to give us feedback on the tools or give us suggestions of items that you might like to see. On the last call, we reported that the insurance renewal had been completed and that we were very excited that the savings was significant. At this point, all invoices have been sent. Thank you to those that have already paid their invoices. There are still some affiliates that do have outstanding background check invoices as well. Please remember that payment of invoices is part of the compliance tracking, and only affiliates in full compliance will be eligible to nominate students for the CMIC scholarships and mentors as outstanding mentors. If you have any questions on the full compliance, please contact your regional director. Also on the last call, we told you about 2 organizations, GuideStar and Great Nonprofits. We have developed a how-to tool that has been completed to explain how to work with these sites, and the tool will be posted under the fundraising section of ACE Mentor Tools. ACE was very excited about our first ACE venture hosted by Oracle. It was a great success. About 90 students attended. We are very thrilled to announce that the next will be on November 18th, and it will be Meet the Architect of the Capitol. Please make sure that your mentors and your students are all aware of these exciting opportunities. There are many others in work, so stay tuned. Now let's get started on one of today's topics, internship. The slide that you are seeing in front of you is what came out of the ACE National Strategic Plan that was updated in 2017, the concept of throughput. The goal of the program is to develop a well-prepared, diverse future workforce for the integrated construction industry. The focus of the program has always been to enlighten high school students about our industry with the ultimate goal to get them to want to enter. As part of the strategic plan, the National Board realized that ACE needed to do more than just a high school program to ensure the creation of our future workforce, and Throughput was born. Internship is one of the biggest key components of the idea of Throughput, not just college internships, but high school internships as well. The board felt so strongly about this initiative that the ACE Mentor staff was given goals. Each month, we report to the executive committee through this dashboard that you are looking at. As you can see, the dashboard includes numbers for internships and full-time employment. The goal for 2020 was 400 internships. However, the pandemic did stall those plans. We hope that 2021 sees the ability for our firms to welcome interns back into their offices. And our goal, once again, will be 400 interns. The only way for ACE to obtain this goal is by working together to develop a strong internship program across the country. This is why we want to spend the time with you today to discuss internship programs. Most firms already have robust internship programs for college students, but we have been given the directive that they want to push internship opportunities down to the high school level. The internship program is to continue to inspire our students who have demonstrated interest in our industry, to give them a fuller, more clear understanding of our opportunities and what happens within our industry. And what we have found is that internships is a great way for the students to develop solid technical and professional training that will help them advance them not only through their education, but into their career paths. As you saw on the last slide, one of our goals is to be able to give any high school student who wants an internship an internship. In order to do this, because I know it sounds challenging, but we can do this if we do it together. National has worked on tools that will be in this section that is highlighted on internships under the affiliate resources. Some of the tools will be focused on affiliates and how to put together internship programs, such as the Chicago program that we will hear about in a few minutes. Other tools will be for the affiliates to use with employers to help them feel comfortable, give them sample job responsibilities, interviewing for the high school internship. And we also want to develop videos and marketing pieces that can be used with different firms to show them the benefits of hiring high school students. We want them to know that hiring a high school student is more than just babysitting. All members of the National Board has been given the request to have their firms or organization consider taking on high school interns. Many of them have already gave us commitments, and we are working with many others to finalize their commitments. On the screen, you see 5 firms that have guaranteed that they will be hiring high school students in the future. We hope it'll be in 2021, but we'll have to see what happens. We will be sharing with you the plans for each of these firms as they become available. It has been made very clear to the National Board that the only way ACE and our affiliates will reach the goal of 400 interns is with the support of them, their firms, their HR departments, and their mentors. All partners of the National Board have been asked to participate. High school interns is not the only part of the program. ACE wants to make sure our alumni have ample opportunities for us to put in front of them. It's a great way for them to want to stay engaged. We have offered to assist many of our national partners in the marketing of their internships to our alumni. Many of our sponsors want access to the students that they have supported through the ACE Mentor program. And the internship marketing is a great selling point, not only to the firm to get them top-rated candidates, but also to our alumni for a great way for them to keep in touch with us. This has worked very well with a number of firms. And on the screen, you see a sample of the email blast that we recently did with Gil Bain. This idea is available to all of you, and you might want to discuss it with your local firms. It's a great way to partner, to deepen your partnership with your supporters. The bottom line is we all want to do the best for our students and give them opportunities to increase the success of their entrance into our workforce. The slide that was in there about the tools locking, we will be locking down our tools. Right now, the tool, anyone who signs into ACE Mentor Tools, it's open. We have been advised, and we know how hard a lot of you have worked on the tools, that we do not want to share it with the general public. Going forward after December 1st, the way that you will access the ACE Mentor Tools is with a username and password. Students can get that information through their login in the database, as well as the mentors. All of you will also be given a generic username and password that you could share with individuals that you want to give access to the tools. With that, I'd like to introduce Chrisanne for her to tell you about the Chicago program.
Thanks, Diana. I'm so excited to be talking about this today because internships are something very near and dear to me personally and to our chapter. Prior to coming ACE, I also did work in the design education field, and over my 17-year career, many of the successes that I've seen go through teen programs onto college and careers in the field were students who had summer internships. So I think it's really valuable. At ACE Chicago, we're a fairly old chapter. We're in our 21st year this year. And our internships, I don't have an exact start date, but they are essentially as old as our chapter. From very early on, our host teams would select interns that they were interested in working with. And for ACE Chicago, for you to be a host firm, you need to have board representation. So there was always participation and buy-in for the internship at the board level. And there's always been within our board very strong support of the program. And I should say that we have board members in Chicago who are, from Turner and Gilbane and Mortensen and Gensler, and they have been participating in our program for many years. So I'm happy to talk to anybody who has those companies in their chapters that's interested in learning more about how they host their interns specifically. But for many years, our chapter hovered around 8 to 10 internships per summer. And traditionally how it worked, it was fairly straightforward. The mentors in a team would find a student that they thought was a superstar and would be a very good fit for their team. We had an application process. The mentors would do a recommendation and then they would be placed. So essentially, the firm was selecting their own intern based on their participation in the ACE program. And that's a very straightforward way to administer the program because you don't have to worry about matchmaking from the administrative side. I will say that for a chapter like ours that has a very both diverse region and a diverse student body, that we want to be conscious of talking to the firms about making sure that they're creating opportunities for students who are underrepresented in the industry. So I think one of the biggest things that we've done to grow our internship program over the years is really to just prioritize it. We have grown from the 8 interns that we had for many years. At the time I started, there were 24 interns, and by 2019, we had 46 placements available. Last year, we were on track with 36 placements, and we would have kept building until the coronavirus happened. But I have to say, even with COVID, we had 13 students who were working in primarily virtual internships last summer, so that did not entirely stop our program. So as we've grown our program, we've had to grow beyond our host teams. And one of the ways that we've done that is really by prioritizing internships as a way that companies can engage with ACE. So if a company reaches out to me and say, I love ACE, I've admired you for years, I want to get involved, can we have a team? If we're not looking to expand our program, or even if we are looking to expand our teams, one of the things we mentioned at the forefront is an amazing way that you can support our students in our program is through hosting an intern. So we talk about it at our lunches and our fundraising. We have a promotional video, and we promote the program every time we talk to potential firms. So I'm going to actually ask that our video is showed, because we have just a under 2-minute video that shows some of the work that our interns are doing.
I'm an architectural intern at SOM.
I am working at Pepper Construction.
I was working at H&TB.
Chicago Metal Rolled Products.
I'm at ESD, Environmental Systems Design.
So this summer I'm working at Gilbane.
I'm working at Aldridge Electric.
I work at Rework.
I'm currently working with Jacobs.
I'm working at Walsh Construction.
At Turner, I'm working in the interior groups.
I work for Aldridge Electric. This summer I've been working at Cotter.
I had worked with Gensler.
I worked in Europe.
AECOM, the best.
It's the funniest thing in the world. It's like, I was saying, Uri, it's like being at a field trip every day.
I'm currently working with mechanical engineers, drafting and Revit. I think that it'll definitely give me a leg up, and it's a great stepping stone going into college. It's really giving me this foundation and the knowledge that I didn't get in high school.
The work that you're doing, seeing it real time, it's not just like you write something down and then you see it maybe a year or two later. It's like you're seeing it as it progresses, and it's really satisfying.
It has let me know what I am interested in doing in the future and what I'm not.
The thing that I most appreciate is the fact that I'm learning how to talk to architects and engineers about problems and how to solve them.
Yes, I can do this in my future. Like, this is something I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make sure I know a lot of people and I'm able to talk to them, and hopefully I will make a lot more memories while I'm still there.
To be out of high school and going to college with 2 internships as big as SOM and Gensler, I don't think it gets bigger than that.
Thanks, I love that. So now I want to talk a little bit about the nuts and bolts of how do we make this happen. So as I mentioned earlier, when you're placing people with your host firms, it's a little bit easier. I want to talk a little bit about what we ask the firms from a commitment from them. So when I'm talking to potential firms about hosting an intern, it's pretty straightforward. We ask that they pay at least the minimum wage. You know, of course, in Chicago, that's climbing up on $15 an hour. So this is a good opportunity to students. We ask that they offer 40-hour work weeks for between 6 to 8 weeks, and that they arrange the schedule with the interns themselves. We, of course, leave it open if an intern has a vacation planned or they have a sports activity or something, and they can work it out with the firm to go part-time, but we do expect from the firm's side that they're going to be offering full-time work for the course of the summer. And we also ask that that firm has a dedicated person who can be the mentor during the summer. So those are the basics of what we ask for firms. So the biggest work administrative goes in on the front end before the interns are placed. So I put up a basic calendar of how we think about our timeline. So as we're preparing in winter for our fundraising campaign or our spring luncheon, we're setting internships as a priority, and we're already getting the board commitments for their summer interns. So as they're figuring out their budget for the following summer for the next fiscal year, we're asking them to make sure that they're reserving those spaces, and then always making internships a key part about how we talk about the success in the program through our fundraising materials. So by February, I'm sending these commitment forms that are just 1-page PDFs with some of the things that I just mentioned to everyone who has expressed interest. So all of our past participants, and then I also keep a database of firms who have contacted me throughout the year saying they want to learn more about ACE. And then I set up any follow-up phone calls or meetings about that. And then we ask that they return those forms by late March. From the student side, we customize the scholarship application that is on the ACE database to include questions about an internship. So our application is a single application. They can choose scholarships, internships, our summer design build apprenticeship, or college summer camps, and they can select as many of those as they're interested in. And because there's not the capability yet on the national database, we have a separate mentor evaluation form that we download and merge with the scholarship applications when they're due. Next slide. So once we have all the commitments in, we do another round to the firms. We have had a first pass at who our students are, and we can understand what firms, what kind of fields they're interested in. So then we go back and we ask the firms, what specifically are their wants or needs? Some of this is taken care of on the commitment form, but for example, construction companies almost always need students who are 18 years old. Some firms are doing public sector work and require students that live in the city of Chicago or come from a Chicago public school, but they might have a specific software need that they're looking for, although we try to discourage that. So we find out specifically, what do you want? Then we compile the mentor recommendations, and we have a meeting with each of the team leads from each of the teams to really go through all their applicants to talk about why they think they're workplace ready, what kind of qualities they're exhibiting in their ACE sessions that help us understand why they would be ready for an internship, and then anything else we can pass along to that firm. We do the placements ourselves. We do not recommend interviews from the firms. Again, our host firms who had a team, they would know their students, so we don't have to worry about that. But for any firm outside of our host, we ask them to trust us, essentially. They can read the application. In some cases, if they insist, we do offer an interview. The reason I discourage it, I'll have to say, is particularly when you get up to a huge number of placements, like 46, there's a very tight time frame between when the applications are due and when we make the placements in mid-May. And we need to make sure that we're not tying a couple of students up. You know, if a firm wants to see 3 students, then 2 of those students who are not selected are not being considered as first priorities for other firms. So it creates an administrative backlog. And this is the most time intensive part, essentially the month of April, when the applications come in and you're talking to the firms and you're trying to make those placements. So by May, you know, we have usually an in-person final presentation. They get their offer letters directly from those firms. And then in May, I just follow up to make sure with both the student and the firm that the offer letters have been signed, that they're communicating their start date with me. And then I host an orientation for everybody to get together. I talk about, you know, I do my mom thing where I talk about expectations and don't look at your phone, and bring in a human resources person to talk to them about how to perhaps dress, and some office tips for being successful with those soft skills. Okay, next slide. And then it's off and running. So once the students start, usually it's within a week of school ending. So we're looking at like the 3rd or the 4th week of June. I'm just checking in regularly. In the past year or 2, we've created a little map for all of the students where with their contact information and where they're working. So if the students want to get together over summer and have lunch together, we can hopefully create some camaraderie amongst our cohort of interns. I host a lunch where I get everybody together to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, and about internships, and then talk to them about things like creating a LinkedIn profile, making sure they have an exit interview planned. And I'm also reinforcing this with their mentors in the firms. We want to make sure the students are accurately representing this experience on LinkedIn, that they've had a conversation with their host firm about the skills that they've gained that they can put on a resume, and asking in advance if they'd be able to reach back out for letters of recommendation. And I also encourage them to ask if they could come back next summer, if that would be an option. So, and many of our interns go back year after year and maintain those internships until they graduate. So getting that initial foot in the door that we make that placement leads to some great success. Before I hand it back over to Diana, I want to point out a couple of things. It's important to make sure on your application forms for students that your description of the internships is clear about students meeting workplace eligibility, because you don't want to be in a situation where you have placed a student and then they cannot finish their paperwork on the first day of work. It's awkward for everybody. So make sure there's clear language about workplace eligibility in your description. So that's the basics. I am very happy to talk about this to anybody who is interested in reaching out and learning more.
Thank you, Chrisanne. That was wonderful. I have to say, she mentioned the offer letters that are presented to the kids, and the final presentation night in Chicago when they do that is so much fun to see the kids realize they've gotten an internship and to receive that offer letter from a mentor that they know so well. So it's an amazing program that Chicago's put together. So thank you very much, Chrisanne. Now, next we'll have Lauren from Greater New York talk about their alumni management and engagement.
Hi everyone. Thank you for having me today here. My name is Lauren Fiore. I'm the program manager at ACE Greater New York, and I'll speak with you today about our alumni program and the events that we do to engage and retain alumni. Before I start, I would like to preface my presentation with saying that we do have an alumni committee. We developed this committee about 3 years ago when we decided that we wanted to do a better job of creating a bridge from high school to industry jobs, as described by Diana in throughput earlier. Our committee does consist of board members, alumni mentors who are students who are in ACE who are now alumni, who are now mentors, college-aged alumni, and our staff. We developed the committee in order to get input from people that we wanted to connect with and to help see how we could better serve our alumni. And so there are many people involved in getting input and ideas and developing events. However, I'm going to do a little mini case study on 2 of our events, and you'll see the events are very easy to replicate, even with volunteers doing the heavy lifting. For Greater New York, our alumni engagement starts at high school recruitment. So when we do a presentation for a school, we include a slide about the perks for alumni of HGNY. And then through our committee each summer, we develop a calendar of events that happen yearly. And we plan this so that events are consistent and that alumni know to look forward to the next event that's mapped out. We inform our mentors of all of our events that we do through the program year and our teachers of all the events that we do for alumni so that they could both inform students, like whoever the student goes to, everyone in our audience or our circle knows what we're doing. And so the students could stay up to date and be like, oh, okay, when I am in college, I could do those things too. We also we're doing events now with like connecting colleges to students. So over the summer we had universities like NYU Tandon, City College, City Tech, Syracuse, among others, RPI, who did webinars for our high school juniors and sophomores. And then during those, we talked about the alumni program. So we are talking about this thing like all the time to current students as well as to the alumni that we want to engage. Actually, the current high school students' first alumni event that they attend takes place their senior year when they're meeting current alumni who study at their college that they'll be attending. So most of our events, we try to connect students to each other on their campuses. So finally, we're talking about the alumni program all year long to current students, mentors, and teachers. Finally, at the final presentations, we literally have a laptop sitting out there, and we have senior students come up one by one to register for being an alumni. That way we make sure that they have their info updated and that they're actually registering. At the presentations, we do a little spiel and we inform students about the perks of being an alumni again and the importance of staying in touch. And then because their parents are there, that also helps with signing up. On the screen, could you go to the next one? Next slide. So on the screen, you'll also see a menu of opportunities that we have for alumni. And these are the items that we discovered really help with engaging and retaining them to want to stay in touch with us. I'll go into detail about the networking events and the opportunities to mentor later, but we also have a yearly internship program with board member firms and mentor firms. And in our internship program, alumni, it's for college students, they apply directly to the firms, and then we send those firms a list of students that applied, and then they review them and look at them a little more closely. In New York, we're honestly thinking that internships will probably be virtual next summer, at least in our area, and so we're going to be developing tools on how to facilitate virtual internships for the firms that are participating. We also, as alumni, for alumni, we promote scholarship and volunteer opportunities and invite some alumni to volunteer at our fundraising events so that they can reconnect with their mentors and network with industry leaders. Next slide, please. So I'm going to go over our networking events. We have 2 for alumni each year. The first takes place in summer before college starts, and so we invite all alumni who are registered in the database as well as all graduating seniors. The event's pretty informal and centers around a fun activity. So for 1 year, we did a scavenger hunt where students had to find other students who matched the squares on their sheet. So one square was something like find a college junior, or find someone who did an internship that summer. Just really basic, easy icebreakers to get students talking. We then did an overview of our alumni perks. So I did like a short 5-minute presentation on all the events and all the perks. It's just a fun way for graduating seniors and registered alumni to get to know one another and hopefully find a friend on campus in the fall. Planning this is very easy. We just send out a MailChimp about a month and a half in advance with the date, a blurb of the event, and a Google sign up so that students RSVP. We did this last summer, so summer 2019, and we had 45 students attend. So we get a really good turnout. The second event that we do is more formal and topic oriented. This event we hold in January, which is around the time that college students are applying to our internship program and preparing their applications. For this event, we divide students by their college major into 5 separate tables. And then we had a mentor who was an alumni at each of those tables. And then we had a panel of 5 hiring managers from board firms speaking about what they looked for in interns, like how to make yourself stand out, how to make your application look good, like just basic HR professional topics. I moderated the panel for about 20 minutes, and then the hiring managers separated and went to each table depending on what their firm specializes in, and gave students more personalized advice and feedback. The event was very successful, and the hiring managers, the mentors, and the students, and even us got a lot out of the event. Next slide. Our Preparing for College workshop is a way for alumni to mentor graduating seniors. So for this event, we separate them by discipline. So we do have one night for architecture, one night for CM, and one night for all the engineerings. So what we do is invite 4 to 5 alumni for each discipline to speak to students about their first year of college. So we usually get an alumni who's a professional to moderate the panel, and they'll ask basic questions like, what did you do during the summer? How could you keep focused during the summer when you're not really working or anything? How do you stay in touch with your mentors? How do you stay in touch with your teachers when you're in college? How do you find friends on campus? And then we also have a good mix of students that go to school in a city versus a suburban area, so they're asking questions about that too. It's a very intimate and personal event with the graduating seniors asking direct questions and alumni really getting to connect with younger students. In Greater New York, we do find that a lot of students here are first-generation college students, so this event really does help demystify the first year of college and help them feel at ease as they get ready. We do this event in June. For planning around April, I reach out to the alumni who I'd like to see on the panel. We do target the alumni based on what college and university they go to, since many of our students attend the same group of colleges. In May, I start promoting the event to graduating seniors, which is like a basic RSVP form, a Google form, and MailChimp again. This event also gets a very good reception. It's very impactful for the students and alumni. And all the experiences that I've had with working with alumni, they are very committed to ACE still, and they are very excited and eager to help us out and to continue to mentor. So it's just this event's a really cool way to engage them and connect them to graduating seniors in the hope that they will see each other on campus and recognize each other from ACE. We did this virtually, and this really was a great event to do virtually. We just had a PowerPoint in the background. I was flipping through slides just to introduce everyone, and then the alumni chimed in. I called on people to speak. It was really great. I was able to facilitate virtually easily. Next slide. So for us, alumni management got easier once we developed a consistent menu of events where we know what to expect every few months, and so that students know what to expect every few months too. We realize that alumni are more likely to register and want to stay in touch with us if we have something to offer them, like our events, the internship program, and other volunteer opportunities. So now that we engage the alumni, we manage the alumni by sending out newsletters, keeping our website up to date, and following the menu of options that we've planned out ahead. We also have a LinkedIn group where we post updates about our program, as students are generally still interested in us and wanting to know how the program's doing. The alumni program is very rewarding for students and then for us too. It's really wonderful to see them graduate from ACE and then see them coming back and telling us stories about the first year, their internships, what they expected, what they didn't, and they're really eager to get involved and stay involved with affiliates. And those are the things that we have for alumni. And like I said before, they're easy to replicate, they're easy to manage, and alumni are always willing to reach back out and get in touch with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Lauren. both of those, Chrisanne and Lauren, that's so much good information and would be an easy program to follow. So I think what we'll do now is, Paulette, if you want to go through any questions that have come in, and we can.
Yes, thank you, Monica. So one was about the data, tool section being locked down. If we want to just kind of talk a little bit about that process, you know, it's not a new registration. It's not a new, it's not anything new. It's just going to be password protected. I know if someone wants to elaborate a little bit more on that. Yes. So basically, the tools you'll all still have access to it. It's just going to be through the database. What we really don't want to have happen is all our hard work be taken by another organization or have it out there with our name on it when we don't know how it's being used. So the feeling is that it would be very important for us to lock it down. The intent is not to make it difficult for you all to get into it. So we will be able to give you a username and password that will give you access. But when we're going to send out an email to all of you with more detail.
And if I can just add to that, you wouldn't even need to use a separate username and password. You would just log into your profile and then you would have access to the tool. So you can get there both ways.
Perfect. And the next question is, how much staff time does the internship program on that scale? This is for Chicago, for Chrisanne. How much staff time does the internship program take?
Yeah, if at the scale of, 46 placements, it is a full-time job for that month. And I have, at the Chicago chapter, I am a part-time executive director, although this year I'm full-time because we have all these new programs to run. But I'm a part-time executive director, and then I have a part-time colleague who helps out on stress times like this. I think if you have a program where because the most of the work is making the placements and communicating back and forth. So if you're doing a program where only the host firms, only the firms that know the students directly are making those placements, it's much less labor intensive. And I think something like that you could do without having paid staff. But if you're getting to a big scale, it is a full-time program. But for the version of the program where your host teams are just taking interns, you have to do the same process in terms of getting a written commitment form, making sure that they understand, if the student meets all of the eligibility, going back and forth with the student and the firm to make sure that it's going to work out for this duration of the summer. But other than that, it's not more administration than the regular ACE program. But I would say scaling it up takes considerably more time.
Great, thank you. And then this is the next question is for New York. Is this alumni program only in New York?
Yes, these are events that we have developed for New York alumni, created by the New York staff.
Great, thank you.
So affiliates can create their own alumni programs within their communities, and also, really helping the students utilize the alumni registration in their database. They'll get all kinds of information from national about scholarship opportunities or internship opportunities. So I think that, it's kind of twofold. You would have a local program, but we really hope that you encourage your students to register as alumni in our database as well.
Great, thank you, Monica. The next question, is there a way to find out if any of our students attended the ACE national events? So I've been encouraging students when they attend any of the events or any extra things that they're doing to make note of that and add that to any of their scholarship forms, their internship applications, anything that they can think of, not just putting ACE down, but listing out all these extra things that they are doing. We do have the list of the students that signed up, and we could, maybe Monica, if you want to answer that about getting that information to the affiliates.
Sure. We can absolutely do that. I think we're specifically talking about like the ACE Venture and who
Yes, I
attended
believe
that. Okay. Then yeah, absolutely. The RDs can, I've got all that information and we can split it up with the RDs and they can let the affiliates know.
Great, thank you. And then this is another question for New York. This is about their alumni events. They're asking, can they comment on how many students have come to these alumni events? They are a smaller affiliate and they were just wondering if they would be able to get the same kind of attendance and response from their alumni.
Yeah, definitely. So we had, we typically have around 400 seniors. And so between the 400 seniors that are graduating and we have, I think it's 550 registered alumni. So that's people that actually log back into the ACE database and register as an alumni. And so we do get between like 50 for some of our networking events, and then for the professional events we get around like 50 as well. I would say like 50 is like the sweet spot for attending our events, honestly, just because we do have students. We have a lot of students that stay local for college, but we also do have a good chunk that go away. So we do have to plan the events out accordingly. Like, so for the example, the January event, we do plan when the public colleges, the state and city colleges are off on vacation, because that's when we know students will be home. I think it's worth a try just to get any students to come out and see. We did trial and error with a lot of events, and some things didn't work, some things did. But we do get a good solid 50 people like in person, and that was the first year we had done it. But honestly, with the virtual, we're getting more attendees, which is expected because everyone's kind of just hanging around. There's not a lot to do right now. So like for our Preparing for College workshop, which was in June 2020, where the graduating high school seniors met college students, that we had like 75-ish attendees per event. So it increased virtual. And then for our webinars with colleges that we did over the summer, we had like 150 like max for those two. So I think it's very good to put it out there, just start with the basic networking event and then see where that goes, and just like a fun activity. And then if you are getting a lot of people coming, and for your affiliate, a lot of people coming, and just continue and see what else they want to, and speak to them, because students are very honest and they'll tell you what they feel and what's working for them. So get some input from them too.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much. In Chicago, of those 48 placements, were all of them through existing team leaders back to their host companies?
They were not. It was about half and half. So we have been actively recruiting companies that, like I said, might be interested in supporting ACE, but we don't have, in our chapter, we have like 9 teams, and that's been pretty consistent. We would have been really poised for expansion this year if we were going to be in person, maybe 3 to 5 more teams, but we don't have a lot of capacity for new firms who want to join as ACE mentors. And so if firms are interested, I always direct them as a first step to our internships. So we also do a lot of recruitment at our luncheons. So that's the harder part of the administration, is you're getting to know the firm and what they need. And they also don't know the student. So the student, you have to place a student who is going to be more comfortable going into an environment where they don't necessarily know anybody. So that's where a lot of the work is. But we definitely have expanded pretty significantly by reaching outside of our host firms.
Great, thank you. And then let's see. There's a question, is there a way to find out if there's a local alumni group? I would reach out to either your team leader or the admin of your group, or reach out to your regional director. They can help you figure out what's happening in your affiliate with the alumni, if there's anything or if something needs to be started, where they are in that outreach. That is the last question that's come in.
Well, and I think I saw one other, it's kind of hard with these small windows, but asking about, has there been any discussion on how virtual internships look. What are they? What are some of the tasks that are being discussed for summer 2021? That was from Anne.
Yes. What are the different virtual internship tasks that are being discussed for next summer? Thank you, Monica. I missed that one.
Yeah. I don't have a quick answer for that. If anyone else does, please.
I don't either. So I do know that some firms did do virtual internships this year. I know a lot of them are looking into what it would look like. I will say most of the ones that did virtual internships did it with returning interns. So the interns had already worked for them for one summer. I think it's something that everybody is trying to figure out how it would look. Okay, and that concludes the questions that have come in, and I will turn it back over to Monica now.
Thank you everyone for attending, and again, thank you Lauren and Chris Ann. You both have developed such amazing programs, and sharing that information is helpful to a lot of people. So we will be sending this out to the attendees, the recording of this and the slide deck. We will also, RDs will send out to their affiliate leaders. So everyone should receive these, and they'll be posted on our ACE Tools site as the previous ones have. So again, thank you very much everyone for joining, and have a great rest of your day.